Should be on. Can you all? It should be on. Can you all hear me? Okay. Just before we start the episode. Let me check. No. Are we live? And we're live. Hey everyone, it's Dave here from the Untitled Chapter channel. So, anyways, today I'm going to be reviewing every episode from Daily Tales Part 3. And we are just about to finish up Season 1 and move on to Season 2 soon, by the way. Last time we did Prisoners of Love, My Brother's Keeper, Shades of Grey, Fan the Flames, and Teacher of the Year and Fright Night, by the way. Anyways, as soon as I get the episode pulled up, I will move on. I will move on to the next episode. Anyways, let's get right into the video. Here we go. Gonna get Jamal Disease. Daddy Phantom. Alright, let me switch my thing around. Alright, about the other video, I'm sorry about what happened last time. The internet went out and it got corrupted, so yeah. Anyways, let's begin. Alright. Here we go, episode 14. Once again, 13. The music that's playing in this video is Tropical Resort, so yeah. From the Sonic covers. At the beginning, we see Danny fighting a squid monster, it looks like. I can shoot ink out of him, by the way. And then Danny captures him before he gets inked, but he didn't get inked, and then he goes help out Sam after fighting the Nasty Bird, and there's this big wolf ghost, by the way. And then Danny sucks him into the sermon, too, by the way. And then Danny gets help from Tucker, and there's a ghost they fight apart. And Danny's wondering who's sending all these ghosts, by the way. Jack Fenton is, by the way. He's pressing on that button right there, if you see. And then we have two ghosts, by the way. Actually, three of them that escaped. We have, another shadow ghost and a girl ghost right here. Another girl ghost right here, which is Kitty, by the way, she's actually pretty cool. And then we have a biker ghost, which is Johnny 13. There's Emma in the background, by the way. And then Kitty gets zapped, and then she can't maintain her form, and then she's put between the ghost zone and Amity Park, by the way. And then goes back into the ghost zone, and then Johnny 13 starts to look for someone, by the way, and then Tucker asks the girl to go to moves with her, but then she calls him a techno geek. She calls him a techno geek, and then Tucker accidentally breaks his technology, which is actually pretty funny. By the way, then Danny finally sucks the last ghost after he goes to Tangible, and then goes right behind him, by the way. And then he sends in another ghost, which is Johnny 13, like I said. And then Johnny 13's shadow comes up and then attacks Danny, by the way. Which, ouch. And then, make that pole fell, and then Danny's sermon gets released, and then all the ghosts escape again. And then Danny at the carnival with Tucker and Sam, and then Squad's like Techno Geek occasion, and then Johnny 13's shadow drove the truck, by the way. She made the truck just drive into a Ferris wheel, and then Danny goes ghost again, and then wait, what's pretty weird about this, that this thing actually goes through the thing, it's actually supposed to go through, like, smash into the wall, by the way. And then Danny goes ghost, and then flies to save a few kids, and then one of the kids almost falls on the ground, and then actually he falls into the ball pit, which good thing for him. And then Johnny 13 saves Jazz from the train that was crashed, and then hypnotizes Jazz a little bit to like Johnny 13. And then Danny starts catching Johnny 13, flirting with Jazz, and then Jazz takes Johnny 13 to the grocery store, and then Jack and Danny and Maddie are acting like each other, kind of, which is actually pretty funny. And then Johnny 13's shadow comes again and makes Tucker throw a fork in a beehive, by the way, which is actually kind of weird. Actually, you know. And then everyone gets stinged except Danny and Sam, because I think Danny has made Sam go intangible, by the way. And then Johnny 13 picks up Jazz again, and then Danny goes after them again. And then Johnny makes... And then Johnny 13 makes his shadow go after him again. And then Danny's like, I am becoming my dad, and then screams, and then Johnny 13's shadow goes and makes him be in the shadow, like, what makes him be inside him, and then Danny leaked them a light, by the way, and then the popcorn girl called the Bella Tug, and then Sam decides to toss off Tucker, by the way, which is actually pretty funny, by the way. And then the movie starts playing, and then the shadow disappears, by the way, since he doesn't like the light, and then Danny's like, smile for the camera, and then he just screams, by the way, and then the shadow just disappears, and then Danny chases after him again. And then Danny goes into human and then spies on Jazz, and then Jack's like, feel free to do it again, and then Tucker's going goth, by the way, and then there are stands, I don't know whose house they're at, and sorry about that. Then Jazz makes Johnny 13 go in again, and then Danny catches him again, and then Danny tries to get Jazz back to normal, and then Danny gets punched in the face, and then the thing just falls on him by the Johnny 13 shadow, and then Johnny 13 grabs Jazz and puts the ring on her finally, and then Johnny 13's shadow finally gets her hypnotized, and then Danny goes ghost and then gets Kitty back into the ghost zone once again, and then Jazz back to normal. And then Danny tries to call Tucker and the answer, and then they help out Danny a little bit. And Tucker gets his PDA back. And then Jack is like, what's going on? And then Johnny 13 puts his chair right in front of the door. And then Maddie opens the door, by the way, and then the door just falls in the... What's funny is that Jack looks at it. And then Kitty's gone after Johnny 13 was trying to hold her hand. And then Danny has the ring, and then Johnny 13 gets with shadow. Then Johnny 13's shadow disappears finally, and then Danny punches Johnny 13 and finally sucks him to the surface, and his motorcycle disappears, and then goes back to human, and then Dad's finally back to normal. Oh! And then what's pretty funny at the end is Jack that gives him his suit, by the way. And that's the end of the episode, by the way. Well, I'm gonna rate this episode a pretty good episode because it actually features Johnny 13 in it. Alright. Episode 15. Public Enemies. It's fantastic. Okay, so before we start this episode, we start reviewing this episode. I'm loading it up right now. Sorry about that. So as this episode starts in the ghost zone, by the way, with one of these, wherever these guys are, chasing the guards, chasing after this ghost, by the way, and then he gets captured, and we see Walker again, which is actually pretty cool. And now we see this ghost wolf, by the way, named Wolf. A werewolf ghost named Wolf, by the way, which... So then he gets zapped, by the way, tries to go into Amity Park because Walker has control of the car, and then the ghost started raiding Amity Park, by the way. And then, the breaking news shows up, and then they're all at Casper High, by the way, and I forgot who this guy's name is, by the way. And then Danny's parents came in, by the way, and talked, by the way, and then Wolf finally get into the human world, by the way, and then Danny's ghost sense is going crazy, by the way. And then Wolf starts to grab him, and then he gets shot, and then Mr. Lantern shows up, and then he gets overshadowed too. And then Dash, Baxter, Quan, and Paulina are over there due to being overshadowed, and then Jack Fenton puts up a ghost shield at the Casper High School, by the way. And then Wolf appears again. Drill! He looks like a drill, by the way. But he's drilling into the ghost portal, which actually looks like a drill. And then he breaks the exo converter, by the way. In the vehicle, by the way. And then Danny goes ghost, by the way, and goes save Wolf, by the way, and goes stop those bad guys, by the way. And then Jazz helps Danny out by not getting shot, and then the guards get sent back into the ghost zone, and then that guy over there is zapping Walker, and then Danny saves Wolf. Whoever's zapping Wolf, and then he gets zapped by Danny's ectoplasm way, and then Wolf trusts Danny, by the way, finally. Which is actually pretty funny, by the way. And then Danny saves Wolf again and makes sure he doesn't escape by Sam and Tucker, by the way. And then Danny goes back to human, and then Walker finally shows up, and then Danny goes ghost again, and then battles out Walker. But first he battles out Dash, that's being overshadowed, and whoever that guy is, by the way, and then that girl, and then Paulina shows up, and then gets thrown onto the wall, and then Danny battles out Quan, by the way, which is on the wall, and then all the ghosts people that are being overshadowed start chasing after Danny, and then Danny activates the ghost shield, and then go back to human, and then goes to sleep, by the way. Then Wolf finally gets the collar off. It's pretty funny. He actually breaks the window, by the way, of Sam Tucker's house. Tucker's house. Then Danny wakes up and then gets caught on the news, by the way, because of the ghost boy, and because of that guy overshadowing him, by the way, whoever that is. And then Danny reveals he doesn't reveal his identity yet, but he's his ghost boy. And then that guy overshadowing him, whoever that is, grabs Danny, and then Danny points a ghost out Paulina, and then that guard ghost gets sucked into the thermos instead of being returned to the ghost zone. And then Paulina runs, and then Danny gets the two ghosts out of Walker and Mr. Lantern Quan, my bad. And then they're also scared of Danny too. And then the guards start being sent back into the ghost zone, by the way, and then Danny tells them not to get stuck, and then Wolf saves them, by the way. And then whatever that goes, oh my goodness. And then Walker finally gets reviewed, and then Wolf switch between that guy and Wolf, and then Wolf gets sent back into the ghost zone with Walker, by the way. And then at the end, the fencing thing, Mr. Lantern's a ghost, by the way, which is actually pretty funny. So I'm going to rate this episode a pretty alright episode, because I actually kind of enjoyed it. Alright! Sorry about that. Alright, episode 16. One of fiery episodes. Well, kind of. Alright, episode 16. Alright, episode 16. At the beginning, Lucky in Love. Heart-aching terror. It shows Johnny 13 on the logo, by the way. It shows Paulina with red eyes, which I don't know why, and you'll see in a bit. At the beginning, we get a beginning of a water park, by the way, and then have a shadow right there with Johnny 13, but it's actually Johnny 13's shadow in the shadows, by the way. And then we see Sam in some sort of gauze swimsuit. And then Dash and Quan spray Tucker and Danny into this water fountain. And then Johnny 13's shadow finally appears, by the way. And then Danny accidentally goes into the ladies' room, and then Paulina's like, "I told you to go to the men's room, but I don't think you qualify." So that's actually kind of savage. And then Danny finally goes and actually goes battle out Johnny 13's shadow, and then and then Danny gets punched by gets thrown, and then gets his head hit by the Johnny 13's shadow, and then Johnny 13's shadow goes through the sewers, by the way. And then Paulina knows about Danny's secret identity, but sort of, though. I'll tell you why after this episode, by the way. And then, whoever this girl is, the news anchor, Invisible, and then I said we call Danny Invisible, and that's not Invisible, but Danny doesn't like being called Invisible, by the way. And then Paulina knows about Danny's identity, and then Sam tries to keep him safe, by the way, and then Danny starts having his face up, because I know his face is red, or his cheeks are pink. Like, I have no idea. But anyways, Johnny 13's shadow shows up again, and then battles out Danny, and then Danny goes to get a magnifier glass, and then he gets zapped by the magnifier glass, not Danny, but Johnny 13's shadow, and then Danny goes back to human, and then Danny, Phantom, and Paulina start dating a little bit, and then Mikey starts doing Danny's homework, by the way, and then Quan beats a part of Sam and Tucker, by the way. Then Danny plays a sticker and him in the locker, by the way. And then Danny starts going on a date with Paulina, and then starts doing this with her, by the way, which is actually pretty cool, by the way. And then Quan does that to Tucker, too, which is actually pretty funny. Then he yeets him, by the way. Poor Tucker. But then the box ghost shows up again, and Danny goes, and then punches him again. And then gets some ice cream, and then punches him again, and then Quan starts throwing the football on Sam and Tucker, and then they both get knocked out, and then Tucker goes with Star, and then Quan ends up with Sam. Alright. And then Paulina starts bowling, and accidentally didn't get a strike, and then Danny helps her out, and then, yeah. And then he makes her get a strike easily. And then Quan and Sam get kicked out of this place, whoever that is. And then Kitty shows up, finally out of Paulina, by the way. And then Danny's in the middle of a love rectangle, like he said. And then Danny goes to battle out Johnny 13's shadow once again, for the third time today. And then Kitty's all mad at Johnny 13. And then Tucker helps out Danny, and then he gets yelled at by Star. And then Johnny 13 takes Paulina being overshadowed by Kitty, by the way, and kisses Danny once again, which Danny is like feeling uncomfortable, by the way. Then he grabs Paulina, and then Kitty tells her about the backstory, by the way. And then Kitty overshadows Paulina in that backstory, by the way. She wanted to overshadow Sam, and then she overshadowed Paulina, by the way. And then Sam gets all mad, by the way. And then he's like smiling, by the way. And then Quan and Star get together, and then Sam and Tucker are finally back to normal, by the way. And then Danny goes to the ghost zone. He goes to Tangible, by the way, because he doesn't want to be seen by Paulina. And he tells Johnny 13 he needs his personal abyss, like his personal bubble, by the way. You know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And then Johnny 13 helps him out, and he thought it was a pretend fight, but then they both fight, and then Johnny 13 was about to get defeated, but then Kitty finally reunites with Johnny 13. Sorry about my voice. And then they go back into the ghost zone, and then Danny shoots the thing, and then goes back into the ghost zone, and then Paulina thinks of Danny, and then Paulina finally back to normal, and then Danny's gonna have to get that membership package back. And Paulina's in love with the wrong Danny, by the way. Which I'm gonna rate this episode a pretty good episode, because it actually had some pretty good acting, by the way, kind of, like, I don't know, I have no idea. But anyway, Episode 17. Probably gonna be maybe lowering this down, but not that much though. But I don't know yet. Episode 17. Give me a minute. I'm loading it up right now. Episode 17, guys. Give me a minute. Episode 17. Maternal Instinct. The mother of all shows. Alright, at the beginning we see Danny in the Ghost Dome flying at 112 miles per hour, by the way. And then he goes through like some sort of thing, some tests, by the way, and then he overshadows Tucker. And then before he does some tests, and then Tucker's like making him feel mad, and then Tucker disappears, by the way. And then Maddie misses some memories with Danny, and then Jack starts playing with his action figures of himself and the ghost. And then Danny splits himself into two pieces, by the way, after Jack gets a piece of mail, and then almost gets his identity revealed. And he can only split himself at two this far. Then he goes back to human and accidentally has one eye and one eyebrow, and then Tucker reverses him back to normal. He actually looks like a Cyclops for a second. And then Maddie starts taking Danny to whatever that place is, and then Jack and Jazz were hanging out, by the way, and then Danny tries to help Maddie get out of the plane, and then gets zapped and goes back to human, and then he uses the parachute to escape, by the way. And then finally, the cheesehead shows up again. Vlad Masters once again. And he's up to something, like Danny said, and then Jack starts helping out Jazz, by the way. Then he gets ectoplasma, or whatever you call it on here. And then Vlad has like this new lair, and there's like, and Danny gets terrified, Then he gets terrified of that thing on the ground, that's actually a dead bear, and like Vlad got some guys, by the way. And then Danny actually was daydreaming of going of him in his ghost form and Vlad in ghost form. And then Vlad zaps Danny, by the way, because I don't know why, just Maddie, like, he doesn't want Maddie staying here, by the way. And then here's the funny part. Hang on. And Vlad does not cat. I hope you guys can hear that, by the way. He said, bye, Vlad. And a single man in your 40s, why not suggest internet dating or a cat? That's actually pretty funny, by the way. And then Jazz started helping out Jack, by the way. And then they both started. And then Maddie starts putting out some tents, by the way, or whatever they're called. And then they go to sleep. And then Vlad kidnaps Danny by using his ghost, by the way. And then Danny starts running, and then he falls on the ground, and then Maddie helps him out, by the way, and then Maddie starts defeating those ghosts, by the way. And then the ghost gets scared by him, and Danny's happy that he has Maddie on the side. It was a string. That's what one of the ghosts said. It was pretty funny, by the way. And then Maddie starts picking up Danny, by the way. I do love how Danny wears the Spectre deflector, by the way. And then Jack's like, Maddie, you're home, and that's Jazz in the jumpsuit, by the way. And then they start battling out ghosts, by the way. By the way, there's almost 12, by the way. And then Danny takes the key from Maddie that she has, and then hang on, guys. I do want to show something I drew, by the way, from here, by the way. I actually drew one of the things. Hang on. Let me get it pulled up. Alright, so I drew something like that, by the way. Give me a minute, I'm pulling it up. Alright, so I Drew, Danny Phantom with a key, by the way. It actually kind of looks similar, by the way. What do you guys think? Since I actually decided to redraw this, by the way, which is actually pretty cool. I actually did this a while back when I was in quarantine once again, but yeah, etc., etc. All right. Let's resume the Danny Phantom. Hang on, all right. And Danny feels like he's gonna go barf, but he's not. Then Maddie goes out, and then Danny finally goes in and takes the Spectre Deflector off, and he's like, "Give me a hug, Vlad." And then he tricks Danny and puts the Spectre Deflector on him. And then Danny finally goes, and then Vlad goes, and then he gets zapped, by the way. And then Vlad tries to split himself with a four, by the way. And then he gets splits himself too, and that's like Danny. And yeah, he gets zapped by Danny, and then gets defeated. And then Danny's like telling the truth of not being made by him, but then they realize they were made by Blind. And he also gets zapped by whatever that plasma, whatever that thing is. And then the ghosts start chasing after Blind, which is actually pretty funny. And then Danny and Maddie finally go home, by the way. And then Jack finally goes back on the couch, by the way. He just jumps on the couch, and then yeah. And then Danny drinks some backwash, by the way, which is, yeah, I know, right? And then that's the end. And I'm gonna rate this a pretty alright episode, by the way, because I sort of like how like I'm gonna rate this a pretty alright episode because I didn't know if I wanted to rate it good. So I did rate it good, but I'm gonna rate it alright due to I don't know, like, it's a pretty good episode, by the way, not gonna lie. Actually, I'm gonna rate it good. You know what? I'm rating it good. I changed my mind. Alright, episode 18, boys. It's probably gonna be one of the ones with Skulker again, which actually features Skulker again. Life lessons. The hunt is on. Alright, at the beginning we see a bus full of kids, by the way, and Danny just flies to school because he doesn't want to deal with the bus, and then we have Skulker shows up again, by the way, with a different voice actor. I forgot the voice actor of him. And then Danny gets shot by someone again and goes into the water. And then and then Barry shows up again. And then Danny's hair's like wet, which is actually pretty funny. And then Danny flies and then doesn't want to hurt Barry. And then he just shoots the weapon out of Barry. And they both were kind of damaged. And then Barry's kind of damaged. And then they're both about to hit each other again, by the way. And then the school bell rang, and then Danny goes into boy's bathroom and accidentally crashes into Barry after going back to the human form. And then everyone has to take care of this, whatever this flour sack is, and then Sam and Tucker are teamed up, and Danny and Barry are teamed up. And then Danny was scaring the baby a little bit because, he was yelling at him, and then we get to see another character, by the way, show up again, which is the Box Ghost. And I guess his face, like, I don't know, like, and then the Box Ghost like, beware again! And then Danny goes and accidentally bumps into the thing, but before he goes, and then Valerie and him start fighting again, which, and that was pretty cool. And then Skulker has some sort of fishing line, by the way. Hang on a second. My phone's about to die. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Then Danny goes to Tannenbaum, and then Danny saves Tucker, by the way, and then goes back to human form so he doesn't get his identity revealed. And then Tucker gets a lot of money, by the way, and then Barry's wanting to dissect Danny, I mean. And then, Skulker sees them again, and then Danny goes ghost, and then yep, Skulker goes to the thing, and then the flower sack gets scared, and then Danny's like trying to tell the truth to Valerie, but Valerie doesn't trust him, and then they both get zapped, and then they get into the ghost zone and Skulker's island, by the way. And then they both make a run for it, and then Valerie tries to get, then Danny tries to use his ectoplasma ray, and then Ghost Power got unused, and they both ducked, by the way. But the problem is, Danny got tranquilized by Skulker, by the way, and then because Valerie tried to get her weapon again, and then Danny actually kind of controlled his hand again. Because it only takes a few minutes, by the way, for him to be tranquilized. And he tried to figure out a door. By the way, Skulker's trying to look for them, and then Tucker is taking care of the flour sack, and he had a lot of money, but then he realized he's missing a kid, and then Sam has that kid, by the way. And then Skulker's like, tell you what they have. He has that flour sack, by the way. And then Tucker and Sam kiss, by the way, which is pretty weird. And then they go back to here, and then they try to get the package. They get the package, and then they get grabbed by Skulker, and then they tell Skulker how to take care of it. And then Skulker just blind by the whatever that thing is, and then get a taste of his own medicine, by the way, which is pretty cool. And then Danny makes Valerie fly and gets back to the home dimension, by the way, to her home, by the way, and then Danny goes back to human, and then he actually wanted to do something nice for a reason, but then they get a C, by the way, and Sam Manson gets an A, and then for daycare over here, Tucker and went out of business, by the way. And then they were wondering who that guy was. It was Danny, by the way. And then in the end, we see Box Ghost getting shot in the butt by Valerie, which is it's actually pretty funny. But I'm going to rate this episode a pretty good episode, by the way. Alright, the semi-final episode of Season 1. Well, it's not the final episode yet, but it's the semi-final episode for this season, by the way, before we have a sneak peek of Season 2 soon. Alright, episode 19. We have a pretty good one. Well, I think I'm going to rate this episode a pretty good episode too, by the way. It's worth every penny, the $1 million ghost. Alright, so this episode features Danny once again. Every episode always features Danny. But the episode features the main evil man himself. Okay, man, Vlad Plasmius. And then we see this ghost, by the way, that's giant, and then Vlad duplicates himself and the 4 clones again. And then they all start going after the key, and then they get bumped back into the ghost zone, by the way, and then all his clones get bumped back in too. And then his ghost portal blows up, by the way, and so all is his house, and then he just seems to use Jack's portal, by the way. Alright, so Jazz finally drives Danny to school with him, by the way. And then Jack Fenton tried to feel like Mr. Lance is the ghost, but then and then that's pretty funny. Sorry about that. It's pretty funny he gets blasted by that thing, whatever that is, the ecto peeler. Then Danny gets all the homework, and then there's these like ghost hunters, by the way, including the guys in white, which we get to see. And then Maddie and Jack finally shows up, and then Tucker gets zapped by the Booyah with the Booyah t-shirt on. And he shouldn't be wearing that because people will think he's a ghost, by the way. And then he's finally reveals him. Then these birds show up again from big reunions, which is actually pretty nice. And then Jack has his head, and then From Life Lesson, I forgot to say Danny shoot the Nasty Burger sign, by the way. I mean, I don't know. Then Danny goes ghost and then trying to save Sam and Tucker, but then he get thrown into the trash bin, and then Danny gets zapped by Vlad and tries to go back to human, and then goes back to his ghost form, and then gets thrown, by the way, by Vlad, and then he almost gets shot, by the way, and then he goes to Tangible, by the way, and then Jack's like so upset, by the way. And then Danny goes into the ghost zone after after feeling sorry for Jack, and then Maddie sucks Danny into the vacuum, by the way. And then Jack is driving to the thing, and then he gets trapped into some sort of box by Vlad, by the way. And then Maddie and Jazz are each other, and then tries to get inside the vault, and then accidentally gets stuck in, and then Danny's like, let me help you out, and then he helps him out, and then he makes Jack go intangible, and then they all get free, Jack, Tucker, and Sam, by the way, and then Danny gets sapped, by the way, and then Jack gets a splat, by the way, he gets that, whatever that sack was, and then Danny almost accidentally reveals his identity, by the way. Then Jack starts running, and then Danny scares the cat, by the way, and then he puts a puppy in, by the way, in there, and then Jack finally beats the birds, by the way. Yes. And then he beats Jack with the, he beats Vlad with the, whatever, I forgot the ghost gloves. Yeah, the ghost gloves. And then everything gets taken care of, and then Jack gets thrown into the ghost zone, and then the ectofiltrator gets fixed, and then at the end, Vlad gets eaten by that ghost, by the way. Which is actually pretty funny, by the way. He's like, oh, butter biscuit, which is actually pretty funny. Alright, here we are, the finale of season 1 before season 2 soon, by the way. Episode 20, the finale of season 1 of Danny Phantom. By the way, the freakiest show on earth, by the way. Control freaks. So anyways, we see Danny in some sort of jewelry shop, by the way. And see who's taking those jewelries, by the way. We get 4 ghosts, by the way, that are being controlled, by the way, by someone, by the way. Give me a minute. And then this guy thinks Danny's a hat person, by the way. This little ghost, and then we have this ghost that looks like a Frankenstein, but he's not actually a Frankenstein. I don't know what he looks like. Then we got a ghost that can stretch, by the way, has a slingshot, by the way. And then we have this ghost that actually looks like a goth ghost, by the way. And then Danny gets caught by the cops, and then this cop arrests that cop, which is actually kind of funny, by the way. And then Sam's parents open up the blinds, by the way. And then Sam doesn't like the daytime, but then she gets into her dress, and then gets that dress whack, and then cuts it off, by the way, which that's pretty funny. And then we have this guy, or ghost, or whoever you call it, this ghost named Freak Show, and then Danny looks at the crystal ball, and he's getting manipulated, by the way. And then he reverts back to normal. It's just like Sonic gets controlled by a Fleetway or something, I don't know. And then, so what's pretty funny is Tucker's being like Sam, which, I think he's kind of wrong, but the dollars make it right. And then Danny starts chasing after the ghost, being manipulated, and goes ghost, by the way. And then looks at the Freak Show poster again, and almost gets manipulated and goes back to normal, and then the cops start chasing after Danny again. And then Danny looks at the crystal ball again, and then his eyes turn red. And then he gets a black shirt, and after getting spray painted, then he reverts back to normal, and then they all get in trouble. By the way. And then these ghosts appear, by the way. I only know one of them, by the way. Their names, by the way. The one that have the spikes on their head. And then Danny gets controlled again, by the way. Then Mr. Lancer stops him from leaving, and then he doesn't listen, and then he overshadows Mr. Lancer, by the way, and then gets him stuck in the janitor room, by the way. And then Danny flies to Circus Gothica. What's pretty weird, his hands are brown right there, by the way. They're supposed to be gray. Or white, I don't know. And then Danny finally reveals that he was being controlled, by the way, and he tries to kill Sam, but that was not true. And then Sam was on like some sort of tightrope, and then Danny reverts back to normal, and then saves Sam, and then goes back to evil again, and then Mr. Lancer's like, let me out, and then Danny gets these ghosts to do all the dirty work, by the way. Then Danny has, oh yeah, by the way. Alright, before I resume this video, by the way, before I resume this episode, by the way, there's something else I want to show that I draw, by the way, as well, too. I actually drew something, by the way, I have to draw the same thing that... I actually drew Danny Phantom being controlled by Freak Show right here, by the way. That was a while back when I was quarantined, too, by the way. He has some sort of, like, crown on his head. I tried drawing that. I tried drawing this badge, whatever it is. And then I tried drawing this, by the way. And now back to the episode. Give me a minute. Sorry about that. And then, Danny shoots the police car, by the way. And then shoots the camera, by the way, with his ecto ray. And then, Sam's grandma, becomes Sam Manson. Sorry about that. And then Tucker finally is with a train, by the way, with Sam, and then Danny's still evil. And then they jump on the train, and then the ghosts realize. Then Lydia, that ghost right there with the spikes on her head, that ghost's name is Lydia, by the way. And then Danny and these ghosts are starting to wonder what's going on, by the way. And then you just realize that they can sense their energy, by the way. Then Danny's right behind Tucker, and then Danny tries to revert back to normal, and then he gets controlled again, and then Jack Benson and Maddie shoots the wall, by the way, finally to escape. Then Danny gets to sing, by the way, the staff, by the way. Then Sam tries to convince Danny to revert back to normal, and then falls off the thing, and then Danny saves her, by the way. And then reverts back to normal, and then these ghosts that were being controlled are actually pretty good still. Are actually pretty good, by the way. They weren't evil, by the way. They were just being controlled, by the way, except for Lydia. I don't know. And then they bring Freak Show back down, and then Freak Show gets arrested, by the way. I love that smile, by the way. And then everyone gets in trouble, and then Mr. Lancer was stuck in there, and that's the end. That's the finale of season 1. I rated that a good episode what's the episode? Oh yeah, Control Freak. Sorry about that, guys. Alright. Before I'm talking about... Alright, so that's every episode... Alright, hey guys. Alright, give me a minute. I'm trying to do something. Oh my god. Hang on a second. Hang on, I'm loading it up again. Hang on. Alright, that's every episode. That's every episode ranked from season 1, by the way. That I already ranked, by the way. So anyways, let's see. So we have I think I got 18 good episodes and 2 alright episodes, by the way. The only alright being episodes being I think One of a Kind and Fright Night. By the way, and yeah. And yeah. There is no hate of any episode, by the way, so yeah. There's like no hate of any episode, don't worry. Alright! So yeah, that was season 1 for every episode, by the way. Sneak peek for season 2, what it's gonna look like, by the way. So this is what season 2 is gonna look like, by the way, for every episode, by the way. And then, yeah. And then for season 3, once we get to it soon, by the way, it will look like this, by the way. So yeah, sneak peeks for season 2 and 3, by the way. I'll be ranking soon. Season 1, I think that was a pretty good season. Actually, a good, great, awesome, outstanding, amazing season, by the way. Anyways, thanks for watching this video, guys. Hit the like button for part 4 for every episode rank. Season 2 is next, by the way, which will be coming pretty soon, by the way. And then season 3 will be soon. So next time, everybody, take care. See you all in the next video for the ranking for season 2, by the way. This video was sponsored by Xavier Tries Minion Rush. Danny fans are made by Nickelodeon. Music, Speak With Your Heart. At the end, by the way.